The grandmother of Jack and Lilly Sullivan, the two Nova Scotia children who have been missing since May, is calling for a public inquiry into their disappearance. Belynda Grey, the children's paternal grandmother, says the Child Protection Service needs to lift the veil of secrecy around how the provincial government responded to concerns about the home life of Jack 4 and Lily 6. She also says the RCMP need to explain how they handled the early stages of their investigation. Ms. Grey is concerned that there may have been some warning signs that were overlooked before they went missing. This announcement was made in the Globe and Mail, which previously reported that a child protection worker visited the home in Lansdowne in the months before their disappearance, after concerns were raised by someone at the school, but the findings of that investigation are shielded by privacy laws. Ms. Grey said she thinks the public has a right to know. Just what did CPS do, she asks. What part were they investigating? What were their concerns and what were they doing? They might even have answers for the investigation on what happened to them or why it might have happened to them. The children's stepfather, Daniel Martel, told the Globe in interviews in May that the child protection workers' visit was sparked by concerns about their learning disabilities, not their well-being. Last week, the Globe published a story in which Mr. Martel said a bruise on Jack's face, seen in a widely circulated photo, was caused by his sister. He did not respond to questions about another photo of Jack with a black eye on a class trip dated December 13, 2024. That was posted on his elementary school's Facebook page. Documents released to the Globe through a Freedom of Information request show that on May 2nd, the same day the children were reported missing, a manager in Nova Scotia's Child Protection Department wrote an internal memo about the kids for senior government bureaucrats. The document was shared all the way up to the Deputy Minister for Community Services, Craig Beaton, the records show. More than 2 weeks later, on May 20th, the same manager produced another, longer memo about the children that was also shared with her bosses. The contents of those memos are entirely redacted for privacy reasons. Scott Armstrong, the minister responsible for child protection in Nova Scotia, said he's reviewed the children's file, but that it would be inappropriate for the department to comment on a continuing police investigation. This situation continues to weigh heavily on the minds of all Nova Scotians, particularly those in Pictou County, and we are all looking forward to a resolution for this family and community, Carly Smith, a spokesperson in his office, said in an email. Mr. Armstrong has acknowledged there were shortcomings in Nova Scotia's child protection system. In July, he hosted a meeting of other Atlantic region ministers and addressed challenges around recruiting social workers into the child protection system, particularly in rural areas. He also previously told the Globe he's committed to creating an office of a child and youth advocate, which would act as a watchdog on the child welfare system and be a voice for children and youth, and taking steps to reduce the workload of child welfare employees. Ms. Smith said that, quote, the issue of attracting and retaining social workers is not unique to Nova Scotia, end quote. Adding the province has increased wages for child protection, social workers, and hired more administrative staff to ease demands on the system. Ms. Grey, the grandmother, says political commitments for change alone are not good enough. She called for more transparency in how the child welfare system dealt with her grandkids, including what prompted someone at the school to contact Child Protection Services in the first place. Quote, I would like to know what the school has stated. Was it just some bruises they saw on Jack? Are there other things? Is there anything concerning Lily? I would like to know, Ms. Grey told the Globe. Ms. Grey is among those who are frustrated it took Mounties weeks to follow up on some tips and arrange formal interviews with people who knew the children Jack and Lily's maternal grandfather, Henry Brooks, said in late May the RCMP had yet to reach out to him for an interview. Mr. Brooks says he also has questions about what is happening inside the children's home and that his daughter had been trying to leave Mr. Martel for months before the kids disappeared. Like others, he just wants to know what happened. It's been eating me up. I'm wondering where the hell they are, he said. I hope we get some answers soon. This channel also just recently highlighted this RCMP press release, which was dated May the 28th, calling for dash cam footage along Gerlach Road from April the 28th through to May the 2nd. This followed 20 days after a neighbor had reported in a tip to RCMP that they had heard a loud 5-speed vehicle coming and going through the hours of midnight to 5 a.m. on May the 2nd, just hours before the children were reported missing. The siblings were reported missing in a 911 call at 10 a.m. May the 2nd by their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray. Both Malaya as well as stepfather Daniel Martel have reported that it is believed the children slipped out the sliding glass door and disappeared into the woodland. However, despite extensive searches for nearly a week and then subsequent searches on 3 weekends following, there has been virtually no evidence that the children were in the woods. Police are still looking for Lilly and Jack Sullivan, as well as looking for any information that could possibly lead to the whereabouts of the children and or knowledge as to what has happened to them. If you have any information whatsoever regarding these children or have heard anything, please call Crime Stoppers in Nova Scotia and leave an anonymous tip.